Hi, I'm Paul Chartier. Welcome to Heart of Gold. And George Stafford, a good friend of mine, who we've known each other for many years, starting in the sports world with you, and then you moved on to become a teacher, and now you're with Jobs for American Graduates.
Correct.
And you've been with them for how long?
Been with Jobs for America's Graduates for 3 years. I actually taught the curriculum in the classroom with students, and in the last 2 years I've been the Director of Employer Engagement, where I'm now helping students find jobs and helping line employers up with our students and making sure that the skill set matches the job and the job matches the skill set.
Let's talk about you for a minute.
Okay.
You were going hot and heavy with host communications and different sports activities and organizations and commissions, but you got into teaching. How come?
That's a great question, Paul. I've always wanted to teach, and I always want to teach, and I talked to you about it back when I was with the Bluegrass State Games, and you told me to go teach, and I listened to you. I was at Danville High School for 4 years, and then I taught at Paris for a year. So I love the world of education. It's very rewarding. I have a passion for it, and I have a passion for helping kids.
Not everybody's built to help kids. Some people chase the dollar, but what gratification did you get being in the classroom every single day? Because teaching, you get summers off, but it is not an easy profession.
No, it's not an easy profession. Even with those summers off, you're still building lesson plans and going to your professional development seminars and doing those things. But the gratification is, you know, we take for granted a lot of things, and as society, we look at kids and we see them at events and things, and we say, gosh, you know, what it would be like to be a kid again. And it's becoming harder and harder to be a kid anymore. You know, back when I was growing up, you know, we had just gotten into where both mom and dad would go to work. And so now we're looking at parents who are working, both parents working. We are looking at some parents who are working 2 or 3 jobs. We are looking at, especially with JAG, or Jobs for America's Graduates, we're working with students, a direct population who are needing help to overcome barriers to success. And those barriers could come in the form of, again, parents separated, foster student. We have homeless students in our program. We have students who have parents who may be incarcerated. So we're working with a very dynamic group of kids who want to be successful, but don't have that extra support at home to push them in the right direction.
Going from teaching to JAG, how did you make that transition?
You know, it was a lot easier than you might expect because everything that JAG does is what I was already doing in my marketing class. You know, I taught marketing again at Danville High School for 4 years, and we also did some financial literacy, and we were learning how to build budgets and things of that nature. But what I tried to do, and I think what most teachers are trying to do, is really prepare students for the world of work, college, for the military, so that they're successful, so that we don't let those students fall between the cracks. And we've heard that saying for years, but this is something that is happening, or was happening in my classroom. I wanted to see it continue, but I wanted to take it to a different level. I've always been big on how you present yourself. And JAG is huge on teaching kids how to present themselves, shaking hands. We have something called GNAP, which is Greeting, Name, Association, and Purpose. And as crazy as this may sound, the hardest thing for a 17-year-old kid or younger, or we'll say in that 17-ish age group, is to shake hands. And you bring them up in front of the class and say, introduce yourself, and they look at you like you're asking them for $1 million. But something they have to have in order to be able to go out and get a job is learn how to present themselves.
You've got 4,000 students that you work with in 25 counties. How does your program manifest itself? Is it with the high school student? Is it with the graduate? What's that look like?
And when you're referring to the manifest, be specific. I just want to make sure, because it's very broad. Is
it a current student that you work with, current high school student, or do you wait till they graduate to work with them? What does that look like?
Well, and that's a great question. That's the reason I ask, is because we do a lot. What we love to see is we like to catch the student as early as possible. We have some middle school programs throughout the state. We're actually in We have 65 programs in 25 counties. What we love to have is for there to be a feeder system going from middle school into high school so that we catch them early. We catch them so that we know what jobs are available. We're listening to the industries who are saying, please, please help us recruit and retain employees. So we're not just education, we're also workforce development. So we're working together on that. Then we're trying to get students interested. So right now, our state is saying we need manufacturing jobs filled. We need to have healthcare jobs filled. We need to have IT jobs filled. So what we're telling kids is, hey, what are your skill sets? How are we matching you up with these jobs that will be available when they graduate? A lot of things that we are seeing currently trending the wrong way is seeing kids who are going off to college, being there for a semester or less, and then they're coming home. And I'm not just talking about JAG students, I'm talking about the general population. Then they're in debt for the rest of their life for that $15,000 to $20,000, not being able to get a job to make enough money to pay all their bills, plus this loan that now stays with them for the rest of their life.
The list of companies that you have built relationships is pretty impressive. Talk about some of them.
Well, we actually couldn't have had a better partnership come up in Georgetown, Scott County. Toyota, their team is fabulous. I couldn't say more about it, and I wish actually we could have had one of their team members here tonight. But I will tell you this: we have 4 programs that were added into Scott County schools because Toyota said we are going to fund these programs because we need these kids to become tomorrow's workers here at Toyota.
Yes.
They invested in their community, and that's something I think is important for those listening, for you to know, and for everyone to know, is JAG specifically wants to strengthen communities. We're not just about how does this help the employer, how does this help the student, how does it help everybody in the community come closer together? Because one of the things we hear from many employers is, especially Eastern Kentucky, is our kids are leaving, they're going to Lexington, they're going to Louisville, or they're going to Northern Kentucky, and that's it. And then there's other pieces to that says that they'll never leave Eastern Kentucky because they like to stay at home. We're trying to, if they want to stay at home, we want it to be the jobs available for those kids to stay at home. And we do that by getting them interested in those companies that exist in and around those areas.
George, is it a class that they go to in middle school and high school, or again, what's that look like?
Another great question, Paul. It is a class. It is an elective in a career pathway. The student comes to class every day, or if they're not, it depends on the schedule in the school, but they come to the class as if it were algebra or English. There's a difference, though. When you come to a JAG classroom, it's project-based learning that's going on at all times. So kids aren't just sitting and getting, they are actually working actively on a project. And it's usually a project from one of our employers that we bring into the classroom, or it may be from the mayor who's coming into town and saying, we've got an issue, how do we get better at what we're doing?
So it's almost like an in-school internship, that they're learning the skills that the employer is asking them to perfect.
You absolutely hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what we're wanting to do, because we want the employer to see our student. We want our student to actually feel what that is like, or to work in that position, and then be able to match those two up.
Before I forget, give your website. So if people, parents, schools, students want to learn more about this and how to get involved, where do they go?
It's JAG, JAGKY.org. That's JAGKY.org.
2 more things, at least. You've got a big event coming up. Where, when, and what's that look like?
Well, March 17th and 18th at the Clarion here in Lexington, we are having our career development competition. And what this event is for JAG students in those 65 programs in those 25 counties, the best of the best are coming to Lexington to compete in resume writing skills, phone skills, interviewing skills, public speaking, problem solving. We are looking at those students showing off their skills to potential employers, but also competing against each other so that they know what it feels like to be under a little bit of pressure in that job interview. But what's the neatest thing about the career development competition that we have is we put students from the different areas of the state. We try to make sure that they aren't with their friends that they come with. We want to make sure that Eastern Kentucky's with Fayette County or Jefferson County. We want to make sure that they're able to share their stories, which what I mean by that is we all have stories. And these are the stories that we don't like to tell because they may hold us back. Which, if I could real quick say this, JAG has 3 lenses that we work from. It's trauma-informed care, it's project-based learning, and it's employer engagement. So those are the 3 things we focus on each and every day with each of these students. So when they come to this career development competition, they are competing for prizes, and these are kids that aren't asked to do these types of things or compete in these types of things. They're winning their first awards usually. They are being excited that they have the potential to compete on a statewide basis. It's kind of like the state basketball tournament for JAG. And these kids are excited. They train in the classroom to get prepared, and it's absolutely a fantastic time.
They're not the only ones that get excited. I can see it in your eyes, how excited you are for these young people to come in and be pushed and pulled and develop like this. We got about 2 minutes left. You were on TV before promoting a competition that JAG's involved in that people could call in and vote, and the results will be in March. What competition was that, and does it look pretty good that you might win?
Well, we were nominated by Chick-fil-A for the True Inspiration Award, and we are now a finalist for that award. This is a huge award in the world of Chick-fil-A and for our JAG Kentucky students. If we were to win, we would win $75,000. We are keeping our fingers crossed. We appreciate the viewers who voted and the people we asked online to vote, but it's absolutely fabulous. And we're keeping, again, our fingers crossed. We will know in March, and they're actually going to announce it at the career development competition. So if we win, it's going to be announced, and if we don't, then obviously we won't hear anything. But we're keeping our fingers crossed and hoping that it will happen.
Will all the finalists be lined up at a table and the big chicken logo the person will walk behind them and then give them a big hug? Is that how that announcement's going to be made?
Paul, if we're fortunate enough to get I don't care what it looks like. I hope they have their cows, and I hope they're any other of their mascots that we'll take. But we're just hoping for the best on that, and we appreciate Chick-fil-A's support in this endeavor.
Let's give the website again.
It's JAGKY.org.
And we might have a minute left. Any community organizations, companies that you want to thank because of your success?
You know, it starts with Toyota.
Yeah.
It starts with Chick-fil-A. I want to thank just the state of Kentucky for everything that they've done to allow us to provide the services and allow us to be able to help gain some funding that way to serve the students that sometimes aren't getting the extra support they need.
It's been great seeing you again, George. It's been fun to watch you take this path and see the excitement in your eyes of what you're doing for kids. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm Paul Chartier. We'll be right back on Heart of Gold.